Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today I'm going to be giving my review for the tabletop role-playing game, which is called Zweihander RPG. It is by Daniel D. Fox. All right, I want to give a warning. There's spoiler warnings. This is a sentiment warning. If you like Zweihander RPG now, or if you're like super hyped about the concept, don't listen to this review. And the reason why is I did not like this game, and I'm about to tear this game a new one, right? There's like a whole long list of things I did not like about this game. And, however, my opinion is definitely standing alone. A lot of people love this game, right? It's one of the reasons why I took the time to review it, right? To actually, go over it and really learn it through and through, okay? All right. So, and also it won the Origins Product of the Year, right? So my opinion really is standing off by its own lonesome, right? So just be aware of that. All right, with that said, let's get into it. All right, so this was made by Daniel D. Fox. Let me give you the numbers on this thing. This is one tabletop role-playing game that is the regular size, that is the size and shape of a D&D core rulebook, but it is 669 pages long. That is a feat in and of itself. It's incredible. It's got the player's handbook in it. It's got the GM's guide. It's got the bestiary. It even includes an adventure in it. Like, this thing is stacked to the brim, right? It really is, right? All right, so the name of the game is and it is created by Daniel D. Fox. 669 pages. It sells for $65 USD, which frankly, that's a pretty darn good price in my opinion, And it exists because there was a successful Kickstarter, which the Kickstarter was $61,000 USD raised. That's a lot of money, okay? All right. So, what is Zweihander RPG? All right, so Zweihander is a terrible name, by the way, in my opinion. It is a German name for big sword. However, the author doesn't appear to be German at all, and it doesn't seem to be coming from a German perspective. So it's a terrible name, terrible name. So the name of the game is Zweihander Grim and Perilous RPG, okay? The author, Daniel D. Fox, he gives 3 points to describe the game. Brutal violence. He definitely holds that, and he delivers that in the game. Like, it is a really dark, very grim, adult TRPG. Okay, right? Right out of the gate, I'll tell you right now, this game contains, it actually discusses suicide right in the book, right? So, if you have any, this is 18 plus. I don't even know what it says on the book, but in my opinion, this is absolutely 18 plus, right? I wouldn't touch this with anybody under the age of 18. All right, that was also a very strange thing about the book. It actually took the time to say, "Oh, if you're an educator, you can get discounts on this if you buy it in bulk." Who on earth would buy this for any school? Like, the book literally discusses suicide right in the book. I'm like, what? This is it is ridiculously dark, and I don't think any school should be touching this, except maybe colleges. Maybe colleges. I get that, right? But if you're going to college, who need, what kind of educational disc? It's weird. It's very weird. If you took the time to make your game accessible to educators, but then the content makes it completely unaccessible to the vast majority of students, it's really odd. It is very odd. Okay. Brutal violence, right? Political intrigue. I have to admit, this is one of the things I really liked about it. It delivers that. It actually has strong mechanics within it to do some political stories, somewhat. We're going to talk a little bit more about that, but it has as a goal to allow stories of political intrigue, right? And the last one is profane sorcery, right? So when this guy says grim and perilous, he means it. This game is meant to be dark. The palette of the game matches that. The game actually, it is a color rulebook in that it has some tans in it, but the overall palette is black, white, and tan. It's very dark, literally in its art. It's very, very dark. And its art also kind of evokes first and second edition, right? So, okay. So that's what the game is, all right? Now, why do I dislike this game so badly? It's a kind of an odd reason, right? But when I see this book, it makes my brain and my heart ache, and it makes crocodile tears. It makes tears just roll down my face, because when I see this game, I see an incredibly powerful, important lost opportunity. All right, so I think Daniel D. Fox is super intelligent, super creative, super artistic, super driven, right? It took a lot to complete this game. And I really see in him a master game designer who has built a really bad game, right? Like, no, I don't want to say bad. It's not a bad game. It is not good. He has built a not good game. It is not good. And it also, in my opinion, it is a love letter to 1st and 2nd edition Dungeons & Dragons, which we jack all do not need more of, right? It is like, it's the last thing in the world we need, right? Like, so, here's the thing, right? This game preserves just like huge themes of things that I want killed in Dungeons & Dragons. It preserves long play. It preserves combat focus. The game is so combat focused. I'm not kidding. One of the attributes is literally called combat. Like, that's insane. That's nuts, right? It has many, many skill lists. These super long skill lists, just like the 80s and the 90s, which every decent game in the world is killing that right now, you know? It has many spells, many spells in the book, right? Which I want to see systems that allow you to, you know, build spells on the fly. I think these super long spell lists they're a problem for a million different reasons. And last is rules granularity. It really powerfully preserves rules granularity, which I'm like, why? Why is it like... And, okay, so it does all this. Now, it does all this because it's an OSR game, right? And Daniel D. Fox wanted to create an OSR game, right? Now, I wouldn't care if Daniel D. Fox had taken the time to build this if I didn't see the potential within this man to be a master game designer, right? I think he is that right now, but he's just focused his energy on the wrong stuff. Here's the situation right now, okay? Here's the Daniel D. Fox Zweihander situation in a nutshell. Right now, in San Francisco, United States of America, there is a 35-year-old young woman, right? And she is working for some kind of startup, right? And she has the charisma, intelligence, and drive to get this country on the moon, right? To bring people to the table, to get the best out of our brilliant minds, right? To drive through obstacles that are, you know, that are keeping us on this planet. We need somebody to, you know, plant us on Mars so we can build a colony and move half the people on the Earth off of this Earth. And you know what that young lady's doing? She's building DoorDash apps, right? Like, she's building a new application to deliver Taco Bell to your house, right? And it's like, it's so wrong, right? Like, we are just wasting human potential left and right. And this is exactly that situation. I know that woman exists, right? Who could get us onto Mars, and right now she's building another stupid app to deliver fast food to your house, right? That is happening right now. Daniel D. Fox, that's what Zweihander is. It is incredible game design potential in one human being, utterly wasted. So sad. It just makes tears come out of my face, right? This guy worked so hard on this game, right? And there's so much that can be learned in the design stuff, but the game itself is so unnecessary and so wasteful, right? Of the talent that was used to create it, right? So one, the fact that it's Zweihander, Grim and Perilous. It's a rated R game, right? When are people going to learn this, right? Rated R movies, when you're a brilliant director and you say, I'd like to make a rated R movie, you know what you're saying? You're saying, I want to take half the people that would possibly watch this and forget they exist. Same thing here, right? It's such a waste, right? You can't play this with anybody under the age of 18. Right? You couldn't touch it, right? And frankly, it's got themes that are so dark, even many adults, I would say a third of all adults, would be far too sensitive to possibly play this game, right? And so you're cutting out a huge amount of people that can experience this person's brilliance, right? Now, let's be clear. I totally think that Daniel D. Fox had every right to make this game, and he can make what he's passionate about. But I, Scott Garibay, see the potential in him, and I weep for the game that Zweihander cost us, right? And it's really, really sad. So what is the game that he could have created? Well, we need a game that is super short, 99 pages or less, runs in 2 hours or less, and, like a movie, which people would be able to do, right? And that allows people to have contests, right? Whether it be combat, whether it be social, whether it be exploration, all those kind of things, right? We desperately need brilliant designers to build a game that young people will actually be interested in, right? And there's a few people out there that are working on some really good stuff, but the reality is, a lot of times I think there's a mismatch. Some of the best games do not have the best designers, and this is a case where this is an incredibly good designer wasted on a really not good game. In my opinion. All right, so let's keep going here. Some of the things are just so to be clear, this is a not good game, extremely well executed by someone who was very, very passionate about its creation, right? Some of the things that drove me crazy about this. Alignment. All right, so alignment's a huge question in every so by the way, if I didn't state it, this is a low fantasy game that completely delivers everything you would get in Dungeons & Dragons with a darker theme, okay? Excuse me. It does it through an OSR filter, okay? Now, basically, every new tabletop role-playing game, every fantasy tabletop role-playing game, they have to come to the Gygax question. Gary Gygax very purposely put alignment in the game, and most new designers, they are from a modern outlook, and many people are like, there's a famous line of, there's no alignment on this character sheet, right? GURPS is that way, and there's a few other games where they just they just throw alignment out, right? So it's very, very hip and cool to throw alignment out, and the vast majority of new games do this. They just throw alignment out. Now, I think this is a mistake, right? But I get, if you're a modern person and you're totally woke and you're an atheist or an agnostic, I get why you would do this, right? But Daniel D. Fox gets it even more wrong than leaving it out, right? He actually adds in order and chaos as alignments that you can put on your sheet, and then totally spends 3 paragraphs telling you why you're more than welcome to ignore the alignment that he put into the game. Completely ridiculous. What's the point, right? That's another thing. This game does not commit to a lot of stuff. It puts the ideas in and then takes 2 paragraphs to say, feel free to ignore everything I just put in this book, right? Like, come on, man. If you're not going to stand up for your own material in your own book, who possibly will, right? Every player and every game master in the world knows they can ignore what you put in the book. You don't need to remind them of it. And so, to me, you got a choice, right? You can leave alignment in, you can take it out. But don't add it in and then tell players that they can ignore it. It's like what's the point? It's, did not like. All right, here's the next one. He takes the time to build, I'm not kidding, it's 2 pages of charts for height and weight, right? And then there are 5 categories for body type, which is like husky, morbose, slight, wiry, like a few others, right? And so, and it's weird, because you choose one of these, right? One of these 5 body types, and then, there's literally 2 pages of charts saying you're exactly this tall and you weigh this much, so that it's proportional, right? So that, if you were husky, right, and you're 6'2", this is what you would actually weigh, right? And then, so he puts all this detail into the book and then says, none of this matters in any way. It doesn't affect any of the attributes. What's the point, right? Why are you taking the time to be this accurate and put all this in here if none of it has any mechanical effect? It's really, really weird, right? So I just thought, what on earth is this, right? The other thing is Daniel D. Fox. Now, this is, I struggle with this too. I am an arrogant person. I really struggle with pride. And I can notice prideful and arrogant people when I see them, right? Because I struggle with it myself. I'm very prideful and arrogant. It's a huge problem, right? And I'm definitely trying to work on it. please pray for me. Or send me any good tips, or if you're secular, send me any good tips for being less prideful and less arrogant. But boy, oh boy. So here's Daniel D. Fox. In this book, there are two drawn pictures of Daniel D. Fox, literally before you get to page 16, right? There's like a picture of him on like page 4, and there's another picture of him on page 16. And the picture on page 16, right, is the standard, like, you know, they show the table and everybody's playing at the table, and then above that is like the dragon scene, right? And this is all drawn on a full page, you know, spread, right? Now, every single designer in the world who's bringing out a new game knows that you have to put a female player in as the DM, and the reason why is, like, we are struggling to get good female DMs in the game because for a long time, Dungeons & Dragons and other RPGs really did not embrace female dungeon masters. They didn't encourage female dungeon masters the way they should, right? So virtually every new game in the world, right, is, you know, there's a female game master right there in the picture, which I think is great. That should be there to show people, hey, you know, like, females can be the dungeon master. Females can be the game master. It doesn't look odd to people, right? And it helps us fix a problem that we've had for 45 years since 1974. But Daniel D. Fox is like, nope, I should go right there. You're like, no, dude, man. Like, no, you really need to check yourself here. So there are two, literally, so like, if you make a game, just here's a weird lesson from Zweihander RPG. If you make a game, don't put two pictures of yourself in the book before page 16. I'm like, come on, dude. Like, and the other thing is, like, this is his first role-playing game. Like, you know, get somewhere before you take that much space. It was really strange, right? Woo! Very, very odd. Okay, so, also, my take on this. So what is Zweihander at the end of the day? This is super, super strange. Zweihander is D&D for woke grognards. I'm not kidding. That's exactly what it is, right? It's D&D for woke grognards, right? Which is a super weird product, right? Now, there are these people, right? There are people who are like, I like 1E and 2E, and that's the D&D I love, but I'm also super woke, right? Like, and to tell the truth, 5-10 years ago, these people really, they were incredibly rare. They're still rare, but there's a good number of them, right? And so it's really strange to see, you know, somebody make a product which is D&D for woke grognards. Really strange. The other thing this game is, it really strikes me as an off-Broadway Warhammer, like Warhammer fantasy tabletop role-playing game. It's just like, it's like Warhammer with the with it filed off. Now that's totally okay. I think I have no problem with that. You know, but you know, a lot of people make OSR clones of D&D. Not a problem. I don't think it's that big a deal to make a clone of Warhammer. I don't think there's certainly no problem with it legally, and I don't think it's that terrible, but it really feels like an off-Broadway Warhammer to me. The other thing is, this game has 60 professions, right? It's one of the best and the worst things in the game, right? So one of the things that's really strange is, like, since it has, so, you know, Dungeons & Dragons has 9 classes. I think Dungeons & Dragons has 9 classes, right? This has 60 professions. Now, that functions as your class, right? But the reality is there's so many of them that if you just let your players choose whatever, one's going to choose a sailor, one's going to choose, you know, essentially a provocateur, and one's going to choose a dilettante. And you're going to have, and these things are going to be so far, you know, stretched between, there's going to be no way to really run the game, right? And the game really doesn't take, I really felt it didn't take that into account. A good game master absolutely could handle this issue, and they could structure and say, hey, if this person picks this, then I'm going to narrow down the professions that are chosen to this. So it can be handled, but it's one of these areas where one of the things that's cool about the game actually becomes a problem. All right, you guys have all been very patient. I feel a little bad coming down on this game as badly as I did, but genuinely, the reason why I feel so strongly about this is it just makes me really, really sad that somebody with this much game design talent has spent so much time making a game that really fully exists. Here's another one. Like, Warhammer does like 85% of what this game is doing. And so does like, there's so many games that are just like this. So to see a talent to see someone who has talent this high work on a game that is so duplicative of so much on the market, it just makes me a little sad. That's all my opinion. Hey, I laid it bare on this one. If you guys want to tear me a new one on this one, go to town in the comments. I'm more than willing to hear you. If you think I'm wrong, let me know. I may be on this one. I don't think I am. And I also realize that my review on this is very personal, right? This is purely my opinion, right? And I fully acknowledge the awards that this game has won. It's done a lot. So that's my take. Let me know your take in the comments below. Please consider liking and subscribing, and have a wonderful millennium.